Hello, today is November 25th, 2013, and my name is Rachel Sherman. I am joined today by Max Theriault, who is a Navy sonar technician for submarines, 3rd class or E4. Thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed for the project Student, Citizen, Soldier.
No problem.
All right, so I'm going to begin with the first question. Your biological form says that you were born in Barnstable and then raised in South Hadley after the age of 10. What was it like growing up in those two towns?
It's almost hard to remember living on the Cape. Really, I guess I can't really say too much about it. I mean, I lived on the Cape, so that was kind of nice. You know, there's like beaches and stuff like that, but it's dead in the winters and nothing happens. But when I was 10, my grandmother died, so we moved to South Hadley so my mom could be closer to my grandfather and help take care of him. And that's I guess where I consider like my hometown.
Okay.
Just because, I mean, that's where I went through high school and stuff like that. So that was fun, and it was like a small area, smaller town, so it wasn't bad. But then again, it's in Western Mass, so there's not much going on out there.
All right. Were you surrounded by a military family growing up?
No. The only person I knew of that was in the military was my grandfather, who was in the Army during World War II. And then after I enlisted, I found out some of my uncles that I didn't know too well were in the Navy also, just by coincidence really. But wasn't too much military association with my family.
All right. Why did you decide on joining the military?
My family didn't have much money, so I didn't see going to college was how that would work, I guess. And it's just kind of part of a lifestyle that I kind of realized I would have. I didn't really want a job where I'd just go in and work like 9 to 5 doing things I didn't really want to do just to make money. So I saw the military as kind of like you live your job, sort of, where it's more an aspect of your life. And you know, I guess there is the nice things where you get to go places and stuff like that. So I don't know, it attracted me. I went in and started talking to recruiters, and one thing led to another.
That's awesome. All right, so you answered my other question. How did your family react? Did they support you?
My mom was not excited. She threw some tantrums, but my dad liked the idea, and I think he signed the paperwork for me before she did, because I was 17 when I enlisted, so I still had to finish out my senior year.
All right. So now we're going to go to the next section. What was your first impression when you first arrived on base? Was it anything like you expected?
Like for boot camp, or?
You can start with boot camp, yes.
I don't know, for boot camp, like, I guess you don't really know what to expect going in. You hear from other people what things are like, and you just kind of see things on TV or something. I don't know, you expect it to suck. And it kind of did. At first, you're doing all kinds of ridiculous things, and you have no clue why, and you're like, what did I get myself into? And but then by the end, you know, you get used to the military structure somewhat and stuff like that, and all the new things you're doing, because I mean, it's not like it's anything you've ever done before. Mm-hmm. And by the end, it's like it's already over. It passed by that fast, and I don't know, it was kind of a fun experience, I guess.
Fun in boot camp, okay.
Yeah.
That's just me. So why did you choose the Navy and not another branch such as the Army and the Marines?
I actually spoke with Army recruiters first, and I don't know, I didn't like talking to them. They didn't really sell me on it, and I don't know if it was those guys or not, but I just didn't really like what they were putting out, I guess. And then the recruiting office I went to was right next to the grocery store I worked at the time, so I just kind of walked in there, and it was lined up. Each one of them had an office in a row. Maybe it was like the second one or something. So I don't know if it was just chance that I happened on them. Actually, I just remembered. One of my friends had been speaking with them too, so that was my next stop. And right when I started talking to him, like, everything clicked, I guess.
So your friend joined the Navy as well? Or?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
We both joined together, and we were supposed to leave like a week apart. He ended up getting a little delayed for something medical, so I left first, and that's how it worked. He's still in.
All right. Describe some of your other military personnel on the base. Is anyone in particular that you looked up to or anything?
I mean,
Or you didn't like?
it could
or-
be kind of a broad question, I guess, in the sense
Yeah.
that, like, there's boot camp, and then I did a year of schooling for my job to be a sonar technician, and then I went to the boat.
All right,
But
so
I
where
guess
do you
it
wanna
mostly applied to the boat.
Okay,
Um,
so why don't you do that?
So I guess once you get there, it's every part, like, you go through all the schooling and stuff like that, then you get to the boat and you realize you still don't know anything. But that's the time you're actually, doing your job. So that's where you start to meet people that can affect you like that, I guess. And the relationships you form in the military are, I don't know, I guess entirely different than anything else. So I met some of my best friends there. And a lot of them were really good at what they did, so that kind of helped form our relationship, I guess.
All right. What was the general atmosphere while you were on the base? Or on the boat, I should say.
What type of atmosphere?
Like, was it friendly? Was it kind of like tense? Did you guys all get along, or was there like?
Everyone really, for the most part, gets along. There's a lot of I don't know how to say it PG. there's a lot of horseplay and stuff like that. But in general, everyone gets along, and I guess the atmosphere would really be a working atmosphere, because anytime there's always work happening on a submarine, because we're always getting ready to go out again and get ready for the next deployment. So anytime we're at sea, we're obviously at sea, we're doing work constantly, and then anytime we come in, a lot of times we'd come in hoping to get like some sort of time off, but really something broke or there's some other maintenance availability that's coming up, so we have to go through and do a bunch of work. So that's the primary atmosphere, I guess.
Just constant work. Was it hard adjustment to military life, living on a boat versus living on the shore, I guess, or?
I don't think. Well, I mean, living on the boat's never really fun, but
Were you boat sick or
seasick?
seasick? Thank you. Yes. Were you seasick at first?
No.
Or?
I never really got seasick, but also being on a submarine, it only affects you until you dive. So
Yeah.
then it's just like being in a building or something like that. You don't notice it unless you do angles, and then your world goes like this. I actually forgot what the actual question
The
was.
hard adjustment to military
Oh
life.
yeah, the adjustment was easy. For me at least. I mean it's based on you, I guess, because there were some people who couldn't adjust to it, and they obviously didn't make it very far. But I liked it. I liked the structure, I guess. Even within that structure, there's a lot of unknown still. But I just like I don't know. You kind of know. In one aspect, it's nice. In one aspect, it kind of gets boring. But you kind of know what's happening in your life.
That always sounds fun. All right, so describe your typical day. How did everyone entertain themselves? So from when you wake up till you go to sleep, what did you normally do?
I guess that would be best for like an underway question. So the days underway are 18-hour days. You cut off that extra 6 for 24 because there's only 3 watch sections on the boat. So you get in and you do your watch, I guess would be the first 6, and then you'd have your off-going time, and that would be, you'd clean. There's always an hour of cleaning or so. And then you'd go into any work that you had to get done, any type of maintenance, or any if you had a collateral duty of some sort, you would go and do that type of work. And then if you finish and you still have time, you can get into some sort of recreation, I guess. A lot of times guys would play movies on the crew's mess because you can't really, it's the only crew area and it's not very big, so it's not like people can really go in there and take it over. So a movie is kind of a general consensus there. Other than that, people bring their laptops underway, and really I guess you can watch a movie on that somewhere else, or play a game if some people played games on them. But it's still, there's a lot of work that happens, so your time is kind of limited. And then the third 6-hour block is your time to sleep before your next watch, so you don't really want to cut into that if you can
I
avoid it.
wouldn't. So what was your favorite? You like to work or you like the leisure? That's kind of a silly question, but
I mean, everyone likes leisure, but
Yeah.
the work, the workload was kind of nice at times because, you know, you're on a 6-month deployment or something. It helps make another day go by. So it's kind of boring, work and then sleep and then doing it all over again, but it helps pass the time.
All right. I totally lost my question. What was your impression of the people of Groton, Connecticut, where you were stationed?
I think, I can't really speak from experience because that was my only base, but I think there is an amount of, I don't necessarily want to say hostility, but something along those lines whenever there's a population near a military base, because they have to deal with us in some aspect every day of their lives. And I mean, even if, you know, the majority of us are just, you know, doing normal things and not getting in trouble or anything like that, they still see the ones who go out there and mess something up, and that's their opinion of us basically. So you know, some guy who goes out and get a DUI or something like that, the town's not going to think highly of us because that's what they're going to see in the newspaper. So it's not like it's outwardly hostile, like you go around and people like spit on you or something, but it's either everyone you see is military or they're civilians, and it's not like you really interact more than you need to, I guess.
Did they like thank you for your service in any way, or
Not usually.
no? Just kind of saw you. As
Yeah,
a-
just kind of there.
I'm sure they thank you now. Were you allowed to stay in touch with your family and friends back home, and if so, how and how often?
Obviously, I was stationed in Connecticut, so I wasn't very far. So when I was in port, that was easy. But when you go out to sea, the only real communication you have is a program called Sailor Mail, and it's really crappy email, basically. So being on a submarine, again, makes that a challenge. So whenever we come up and come to periscope depth, and we can get antennas and stuff out of the water, or if we surface for some reason, then we can start to exchange information. Obviously, there's going to be like important, like mission critical type things that we have to get on and off first. But if we have the time, they'll stay up and they'll clear the buffer of Sailor Mail, which just builds up every day, because even if you're not sending it out, people just sit there typing new ones or something like that. And same thing on the shore side, families will keep sending them until it happens. So once they clear it, it's like emails everywhere. That's really it until you pull in overseas or something like that. And a lot of guys will buy like a local cell phone, like a cheap flip
Like a
phone.
track phone kind of
Yeah,
thing?
exactly. And they'll just buy every country they go to, they'll just buy a new SIM card, and that's not very expensive. That's actually a really smart idea to do it. On my second deployment, I decided to activate global calling on my phone, and that was very expensive and not the smartest idea.
You live and you learn.
Yeah.
All right. So it says in your biological form that you worked as a sonar technician on base. What was your experience during your time in the submarines underwater? Do you have any stories to share about it? Say anything you want about being on a submarine.
So yeah, I was a sonar technician, operated and maintained all aspects of the sonar suite on the boat. Man, it's a kind of a big question. There's a lot that
Say anything you want.
there's a lot that goes with it. I mean, so I guess our basic job is for safety of ship, really. So we're always listening, and we basically, whatever we hear in the ocean, we have to detect, track, classify is like the order, I guess. But if you can hear, like, obviously some of it's just like fish. You'll hear like a whale singing off in the distance or something like that, or a bunch of shrimp, which are really annoying, or dolphins, which are even more annoying. And so those are pretty easy to tell. But then you'll get other things where maybe you're not sure what it is exactly, or it's clearly a boat. And any ship of any type, we track, and we make sure we know where they're going, just in case. Well, that's part of classifying it. You know, like merchants they get paid to go in a straight line, get something somewhere as fast as they can. So that's easy. But then something is moving around, then we know it might be something different. That's what you want to look out for. Not only for, if we need to track something from another military, but just for safety of ship. If they're being erratic, we don't know if they might come at us or something like that, not realizing we're under them. So, yeah, like I said, sonar is really all about safety. And then at the same time, there's a lot, I guess I can't really go too far into, about tracking other countries' warships and stuff like that. That's really kind of like, safety is like the basis of our job, and that's like the fun part, the mission, on mission type stuff. And then there's a lot of maintenance that goes into it, a lot of not exciting maintenance that's very tedious and in very small places and stuff like that. So I liked it. I liked operating. You get to hear some cool stuff. You get to do some cool stuff, I guess. But yeah, a lot of training, a lot of maintenance.
I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could survive on a submarine. Do you have any stories at all of a particular instance? Like maybe you saw a big whale, or maybe anything you want to share? One story, or?
I guess, I don't know. For me, it doesn't sound like exciting stuff. I guess for someone else, it might be a little better. But
share away.
Like on my first deployment, as we were heading across the Atlantic, we had a whale follow us for like weeks, like the entire time. Well, not weeks. It only takes like 2 weeks to get across, but
days.
Yeah, a few days. I was just out there singing. Every watch we came up, he was right there doing the same thing. So that was, I don't know, that was kind of cool. Just, it was something that helped pass time, I guess, again, because you go on watch and it's like, oh, where's the whale? Oh, I found him.
Yeah.
So, kind of track him a little bit. Then, there's not too many exciting stories that happen when you're not tracking something.
Yeah, submarine life.
Yeah.
All right, so was there any rivalry with other branches of the military, on base, off base?
My base is
Oh, no, go ahead.
my base is only a submarine base,
Mhm.
and it's really only Navy. I think there was like a small Army veterinarian post there, and I don't remember seeing anyone else really. But I don't think that I can't speak on behalf of the other branches or even the rest of the Navy, but for our base, and I don't think it was really a thing, no real rivalry. We didn't see them also, so that might have helped. But the most I could say on that is we did homecoming in Annapolis, Maryland, and so I was on the USS Annapolis, and we pulled into Annapolis for their homecoming football games and stuff like that. So that's kind of like you're at the Naval Academy, Navy Army is a big rivalry. I guess that's the closest it would have come to it, but yeah, really, I don't know if it's active or, we all joke with each other, especially now with the veterans group. We're all from different branches and stuff like that, so we all joke with each other, but it's kind of we're all going through a lot of similar stuff type deal.
So there's really so much more rivalry. It's just like, oh, you're Navy, that's cool. I'm Army. We did this, and you didn't kind of.
It's more like a sibling rivalry type deal.
Sibling rivalry. That's a better word for it. All right, so we're gonna get into a little more tough. I shouldn't say tougher questions, but why do you feel that Americans went to war?
Talking about it in like 2001.
Sure.
Well, I'd say. I don't know if it's like ideally or not, but we were attacked, so we went to find Osama bin Laden, and obviously that's how it started. And I wouldn't say ended because it's still not over, but we did that. It took a long time. Moving into Iraq, there's all kinds of stuff on that, and people associated with oil and stuff like that. And then everyone says that, we said he had WMDs, and we didn't find any. But in the same sense, he was a dictator, and I guess it depends on your definition of a WMD, because I would think chemical weapons that he used to kill thousands of his own people are probably a weapon of mass destruction. So I don't know if it's right or wrong. That's not my call, but I think that's part of the reason, at least.
All right. A little tougher again. Do you agree with the reasoning behind the war, behind us going to Iraq?
In the beginning,
Um,
or
why don't we start with the beginning then? Or beginning versus now?
like I guess from my point of view, I don't know if that's how I rationalize it personally, but I mean I was fairly young at the time. I think it was like 14 when we were attacked, and then not long after that we went into Iraq too. So I don't know if that's kind of how I've rationalized it for myself or not. I think a lot of people say, we're there for oil and stuff like that. And I know oil is definitely a valuable resource in the world today. But I don't know if it'd really be worth it for how much money we spend fighting these wars to say it's just for oil or something like that. But I guess I agree with the things I may have rationalized. I mean, there's no way you could let Osama bin Laden get away and his networks get away with attacking us. And then moving into Iraq, like I said, at least he was a dictator, and we did depose him. So.
All right. What are your views, if you have any, in regards to the media's view on the war? So how do you feel the media is representing it? Do you have any
I think
views?
I think there are some things. There's some like documentaries and stuff like that really don't get much attention that are probably the best aspect of the war. I feel like almost everything is like anti-war, for better or worse. But I feel like the media is actually really terrible about it. You only hear bad things in the media. You never hear any stories about the units that go over there, and their whole job is to go over there and rebuild infrastructure, build schools and stuff like that. And even if you do, it's usually like people saying that we build them crappy schools or something like that to try and get more oil, or something along those lines. I don't like the way the media. I don't really like the way media does anything. It's really only bad things that they can sensationalize, and I don't think it's really a good thing to try and show like war footage when they'll show like dead Americans, or dead anyone really, but when they're showing dead soldiers, that's inappropriate.
Yeah, I feel the same way. All right. So have you associated with the VA system, the Veterans Affairs?
Yes.
All right. How was your experience with that? Do you feel their treatment was good towards you, bad? Who's on that at all?
I haven't done too much. I still need to go in and see them more. But so there's the VA, which like I use for my school benefits, and then there's the VHA, Veterans Health Associated, with the same thing. But that one I'm less familiar with. I've gone in, I got a doctor. I waited way too long, and I finally got one. And I just had my first appointment like a month or two ago, and I mean that went smoothly, I guess. But I don't know. There's not much.
Feel you waited too long? Well, like they made you wait too
I
long?
waited on my own regardless.
Okay.
So I probably should have gone in earlier and could have, but I don't know how the actual wait would have been. I'm waiting on an appointment right now. It's hard sometimes to work it with your schedule and their schedule, I guess. But I mean, you can't really blame that on anything.
So you use it definitely more for school. Are they paying for your school? Or?
Yeah, it's at the school benefits are really pretty awesome. They pay for my school and they pay me money for housing, and I can still get like grants and stuff like that. So that's cool. So that's actually really good. The education benefits. It can take a little while when you're first getting into the system. So my first semester I had to wait almost like a full month I think, to get my my first payment. Which if you're not ready for that, and I don't think most people are, even if you hear there's a wait, there's no real way you can prepare for that. But after that, it's seamless really. So I don't have anything bad to say about that, I guess.
Do you have an opinion on how the American government treats its veterans? Whether the Iraq War, any other war, World War II, Vietnam, even Korea, etc., Gulf War?
Well, I mean, nothing good can be said about how they were treated with Vietnam.
Yeah.
And I think the government could have done a lot there that wasn't done, but I think that was a lot of the part on the American people also. And for World War One, World War Two type things, I mean, even back to like the Civil War when they started trying to take care of veterans, really. There were things put in place, but I don't know, it was a different time, so you can't really compare any of that. I mean, the GI Bill came around after World War II, and again, it was a different time. But now, people are paying attention to things like PTSD, where back then it would be, you know, shell shock or battle fatigue or something like that. It was just like, you know, you'll get over it, get back to work kind of deal. Now they're, I don't know, it's kind of a big question in the sense that government is varies so much state to state, federal, that there are a lot of places and people that are trying to do really good things, like, and some of those are pretty awesome, but then again, there's some people who just make sweeping generalizations and ignorant comments and things like that, and that's not helping anyone really.
So you feel that if people were more educated, they would accept it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can say that for most topics, but
Yeah, you can say that for any topic.
Yeah.
All right. Did your experiences serving on the base and the submarines, all of that, alter your perception of the military as a whole?
I'd say yeah. I mean, I don't think you can actually serve in the military and not come out with an altered perception of it to some aspect. I think a lot of it depends on you again, just like some of the questions earlier. And it depends on how well you take to the military. You don't have to like love every second of it to have it change you, but some guys went in and I don't know what they were expecting, but they found that they did not like the military, and I'm sure they came out with a much worse opinion of it than I did. It kind of make it harder for yourself if you don't work within the system, I guess.
All right. So the final segment. What made you decide to go to Salem State University or Salem after serving?
It was actually really just a random choice. I was looking at, I wanted to come closer to Boston because, I don't know, I guess going to high school and stuff like that in Western Mass was all right, but I didn't really want to go back there right away. So I wanted to get closer to Boston. I'd been coming to Boston while I was in on the weekends, like whenever I could get away from the boat and stuff like that with my friends for a while. So I wanted to be closer to here, and I looked online at the benefits that were being offered for the GI Bill, and really, I guess it kind of came down to money also, because they offer the same amount to live in Salem as they do in Boston, which is obviously pretty good. So.
Yeah. So it said on your biological form that you wanted to do law enforcement. Did that alter your decision as well to come here? Because we do have a good criminal justice program. Or?
Honestly, that probably should have, but that really didn't have anything to do with my
Okay.
decision.
That's just a quick question. All right. What was the most difficult aspect of the transition to college life? If you could think of anything difficult.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
All right.
I guess it's really a different experience. The military kind of makes you grow up quickly. So you know, I've been living on my own since after high school, immediately after high school, where you know, I had to, you know, take care of myself and make sure I was basically be an adult, make sure I was getting to work, getting my work done, go home and, you know, make sure I was getting taken care of there too. And I was dealing with all these different things. You know, I lived off base for a time. I had, you know, I had to pay rent, I had to pay bills, stuff like that, all the just like normal adult life. But then I came back to college, and I'm here with people who are literally just coming out of high school, and it's just like hearing some people's problems and stuff like that just doesn't even make sense. But I guess can't blame them, because I guess they're normal. I'm abnormal in this situation.
I don't think anyone's normal, but...
Yeah.
All right. Did you have any close friends during your time on the naval base, like specific friends? Do you want to describe your relationship with them that compares with friends and family from home? Anything you want to say about that?
I guess the military, like I said, you make really different and kind of close bonds with people. So I made some really good friends. Some of them are still in Connecticut. Some of them have moved, around the country and stuff like that. One of my real good friends is in Virginia now. So I guess the difference would be, I guess you kind of are more equipped to handle, sounds bad, but you're more equipped to handle like the distance relationship, I guess, of friendship. Because people move around. You're used to losing people all the time, but staying in some sort of contact, if you were close with them. So you kind of accept that you won't see each other for a while if you're not, stationed with each other anymore. But kind of almost go out of your way when you get the opportunity to make sure you can see them or something like that. Like I drove out to my buddy's wedding in Ohio when I got out of the Navy, which kind of crappy drive, but it worked out.
Hey, it's another place to go.
Yeah.
Ohio. All right. Would you serve the Navy again if given the chance, or any other branch? Why or why not?
Yeah. I think it a lot in a lot of the ways made me who I am today, I guess. I think service. I think highly of service. I think highly of, and it's hard to say in hindsight, but I'm pretty sure, I always respected people who were in the military. I didn't know too many firsthand, like I said. It wasn't really in my family that much. But I respect, my other veterans, at school, everywhere that went and served. And I think it's a good thing. It helps you grow up. It shows you the world in an aspect, not literally just because you get to travel some, but you meet people from all over the country, all kinds of different people. It just helps you grow.
I like that. All right. How do you view the other students at Salem State University?
Like everyone? Or?
Why don't we go with students first? Like regular, straight out of high school, they have different problems than you did.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say anything bad about them, but at this point, it's like I come out of the military. Like I said, I was living my own adult life. That could have been my career if that's the way I wanted to go. And I come back, and now I'm in the same class as like 18-year-olds who just came out of high school, and it's just like a weird setting. Like you said and I said, they all have, we have different problems and priorities and things like that in life, and we come into a class and it's just it's weird interaction, I guess. And then you meet a lot of people are somewhat ignorant on things that go on with the war and go on in the military, stuff like that. So you get some questions, and sometimes you get inappropriate questions or something like that. It's just a weird interaction, I guess. I mean, you get used to it, and it's not a lot of people are perfectly fine, but I guess you only remember the ones that kind of rub the wrong way, I guess.
What about Salem State University veterans? Do you get along with them a lot better?
Yeah, I think veterans are inclined to get along with each other well, in the sense that we've all done something similar to some extent, and coming and being part of the veterans group and stuff like that, I've learned that even though a lot of us had like entirely different jobs, we were all in different branches, a lot of our experiences are very similar. So it's kind of easy to get along with that, and most of us are all older than the other students, so that's another bonding point, I guess. And Salem State actually has a really good veterans community, which was kind of random and kind of like a good benefit, I guess, of coming here. That it's not very old, but it's getting established well, and we're kind of doing big things, I guess.
Alrighty. If you had anything to say to the Salem State University students, like whether they're making a comment or not, would you say anything to them? Do you have anything to say to them or the community? Is that a good question for you? Understandable?
Like what I would say, do I have something to say like through this, or?
We could do that last. So, if someone came up to you and said something,
Mm-hmm.
or like, what would you say to them if they asked, "What was your best experience?" or like, "What was it like?"
I mean, I try to answer questions. I mean, like I said, a lot of people are ignorant as to what goes on in the military, how it really is. And I know Professor Darian knows that we would get into some of these discussions in classes, same with the other learning community teachers. And that could take like an entire class up quick. But I try to inform people, anything they ask and stuff like that. Try to be open about things, just to help them understand how it works. Did I answer that right? Is that what you
No,
want?
that's perfectly fine. Answer as much as you want. So the learning community you mentioned, I knew about this before because he's my professor and he told us. But has being part of that learning community class helped you
I think so. I think it
hear it all?
I think it was actually really good because that really kind of started at the same time as, like I said, the veterans group was really kind of rebounding, I guess. And we just kind of worked together, and now most of us from that learning group are in the other one, and we work with each other well. It was a good experience, and we've talked about, I'd be fine if I did it over again and taking it the same way, but we talked about, what could be improved, what couldn't be. But it's good to come in, at least in the beginning, in that awkward time when it's like, oh, these are all like 18, 19-year-olds, and have a class of all veterans where it's just like, you can go in there and see what's working and what's not working, kind of.
Would you recommend that class for other veterans that are coming here, or
Yeah,
kind of
absolutely.
take them under your wing?
I think it was a good experience, and it knocks out classes that you need to take regardless, so I'd say why not?
Hey, why not? The core is difficult. All right, so is there anything you'd like to talk about? You haven't mentioned any stories, observations, anything you want to put on the record for the camera to say to the Salem State University, the students, the faculty, anyone here?
There's not much I can think of off the top of my head. Like I said, though, the school has been really good towards us as a veterans group, veterans community, with a lot of different things like the learning community program and stuff like that. The veterans group is doing a lot of good things, and we're growing and doing good things. So it's a good place right now to be a student veteran. So I think things are working out well on that aspect, I guess. I think that's all I got.
All right, well, that's all I got. Well, thank you very much for doing this.
No problem.
And I